Okay, folks, hopefully this will work now. Stream health is good. All right. So, as we know, SEMontreal attempted to look for the new moon using a solar filter, and Flatziod, in his brilliance, mirrored it. Now, in the mirror in Flatziod's mirror, Brian's logic said this. Said that, hey, look, here's proof that you can see the moon through a solar filter. Well, let's take a look at that. Note that supposed thermal lens and then the normal lens. Well, let's see what happens when we put that to the test. All right, so there we go. We're going to rectangle select the thermal, going to invert the selection so that we're selecting the major part of the increase in exposure, and then we're going to apply thermal gradient map. It's kind of funny. That looks almost exactly like the supposed thermal lens. Well, busted. All right, so if you saw the spoiler, you saw the optics, the setup I'll be using tonight. That exact same setup got me this video earlier today. I actually learned a couple interesting things. I actually shot this using only the green channel with the solar filter. Turned out pretty nice. Okay, so where are we at now? Oh, there's my backyard. And the rig is clearly in view of the moon. We are going to turn on the sharp cap. Open up sharp cap. There we go. As you can see, we are using a 294 MC Pro. Right now we're at about 10 milliseconds at 121 gain. I'm going to unpark the mount, set up for lunar tracking, and tell it to go to the moon. And while we're doing this, we'll be able to watch the mount slowing over to point to the moon. And if the mount's dead on, we will be able to see the moon dead center of the frame with a halfway decent exposure. And what do you know? There we go. There's the moon. In fact, it's actually a little overexposed. Let's drop this down a little bit. So here we go. Here's the moon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this exposure setting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to max out the gain. Actually, you know what? Let's drop this down. There we go. So at maximum gain with a super short exposure time, this is what we see. Now I'm going to mute the mic, step outside, and put the solar filter on. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn that yard cam back on so that you can see me go outside and do this. I'm back. As per usual, the threads on anything made in Russia are kind of like they made them using a Dremel. Alright, so here we are. We are at max gain. We are going to enable auto exposure. And just let this keep ramping up. Here we are. Ooh. We're at almost 2 seconds. And it's still going. Still going. Still going. Now, we're looking for a nice, bright moon like in that other video. Let's see. 2.8 seconds, 3.6 seconds per exposure. And it's still going. 4 seconds. Now we're coming up on 5 seconds. Now we're over 5.5 seconds per exposure. Ooh, 6.66 seconds. Oh no! Must be an evil NASA plot. And it's still going up. And still going up. And still going up. Well, we're almost at 10 seconds. We're coming up, getting close to, yep, there we go. There's 10 seconds. So let's just stop this at 10 seconds per. Now, at 10 seconds, at maximum gain, and let me move this yard cam out of the way. This is what we have. Right here. This is a 10-second exposure at maximum gain through a solar filter in order to see the moon. I don't think SEMontreal's P1000, P900 is going to be able to pull something like this. But let's keep going. Because remember, Brian's logic said that that other video was proof. Let's get a nice, super bright moon. You know what? Let's take this auto exposure, put this at 100. It's nice and bright. There we go. Yep, 14 seconds. Now they're starting to get a little long. It still doesn't look like that other video. Yeah, next one's going to be 19 seconds. Yeah, it's starting to get there. But still, 19 seconds. Well, if it takes 19 seconds per exposure through a solar filter, then how would you be able to see a moon at 60 frames per second, like Brian Logic's proof video, or like the frame rate that SEMontreal's video was shot at? You wouldn't. In fact, this moon is a couple thousand times brighter than even a 1% illuminated moon. We still don't, it's still not bright like Brian Logic's proof video. But let's keep going. Well, about 30 seconds. But you know what? Let's just leave it at that for a second. Let's just leave it at that. Because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it at max gain. Let's just drop this down so that it's just a hint of even a bright moon. I think that was around, what, 10 seconds? Let's wait for that frame to come in. As you can see, I'm not stretching anything. So there we go. All right, 10 seconds at maximum gain. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to step outside, and without adjusting these settings, I'm going to remove the solar filter and see what happens. I'll be back in a second. Well, looky there. Looky there. That is just a completely white screen. That's insane. So, if it takes 10 seconds at maximum gain to see a reasonably well-illuminated moon, through a solar filter, then what do you think the chances are of actually being able to see a new moon through a solar filter when the sky is going to be a couple 100,000 times brighter? It's going to be 0. So, like I have in the notes, don't be a flighty moron. Do the research, do the experiments, do the math. Now let's wrap that up. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Until next time, this is Loki Fish Mars.